noite a todos. Vamos dar início a esta primeira sessão do novo projeto deste ano rotário, Rotary Talks. Saúdo na pessoa do nosso governador Sérgio Almeida, todos os rotários aqui presentes, tanto portugueses como internacionais. Uma saudação também especial para os convidados da Universidade Católica do Porto, para a Fundação AEP e APMEI, parceiros neste projeto. A todos sejam bem-vindos nesta noite. Welcome to the speakers. A nossa sessão terá também a oportunidade, vai ser toda ela realizada em inglês. Quem desejar a tradução para a interpretação para português, existe na parte inferior a localização do canal onde diz interpretação, basta escolherem o português. Para nos fazer a interpretação, temos connosco uma professora do Instituto de Línguas do Rotary Clube de Penafiel, a doutora Mónica Pereira, a quem agradeço a participação e ajuda nesta sessão. Vamos ter 3 momentos ao longo da noite. Em primeiro lugar, as boas-vindas e a condução da reunião pelo nosso governador Sérgio Almeida, que vai interagir também com os convidados internacionais. Depois haverá um momento de moderação pela professora Ana Lourenço, da Católica Business School, a quem agradeço a colaboração e ajuda, e que vai interagir com os nossos convidados, fazendo-lhes perguntas. E, finalmente, caberá ao nosso governador fazer o encerramento desta reunião. Minhas senhoras e meus senhores, vamos ouvir o nosso governador Sérgio Almeida.
Muito boa noite a todos. Good evening, everybody. É um prazer enorme estar aqui convosco. Eu quero agradecer ao nosso instrutor, o companheiro Manuel Cepeda, a introdução e as boas-vindas e, naturalmente, a dinâmica deste evento. I'm going to make a little presentation in Portuguese, then I will keep flowing in English with our dear guests. So just a few minutes, please, in Portuguese to salute everybody. A nossa conferência, que em primeiro lugar é uma conferência rotária, que tem como objetivo trazer até nós, ao Distrito 1970, uma série de convidados à volta de um tema que para hoje escolhemos: a visão e estratégia, construir o futuro em tempos de incerteza. Naturalmente, como o companheiro Manuel Cepeda falou, quero agradecer mais uma vez e reforçar a parceria com a Católica Porto Business School, que está aqui representada pela professora Ana Lourenço, que vai fazer depois a parte da moderação das questões. Quero agradecer também à Fundação AEP, que é nossa parceira neste projeto, também ao IAPMEI, que é nosso parceiro também nesta ação, e naturalmente aos nossos convidados e a todos os rotários, em especial do Distrito 1970, que estão aqui hoje, que são vários que já aqui consegui identificar. Esta é uma ação rotária, mas que é aberta naturalmente à comunidade. Portanto, não é só para nós, enquanto comunidade de Rotary, mas também para todos aqueles que se quiserem juntar a nós. E é uma prova e um exemplo que realmente o Rotary é hoje relevante e que nesta altura de incerteza pode fazer realmente a diferença, trazendo até nós uma série de oradores que hoje temos connosco e que são também eles rotários e profissionais de grande dinâmica e com provas dadas que nos vão trazer a sua visão sobre o tema. Portanto, deixo aqui um abraço a todos os companheiros e amigos. Já vi aqui o Miguel Ángel Taúr de Espanha, um grande abraço, o nosso coordenador, Sérgio Aragón também, algures, alguns queridos passos de governadores que estão connosco também. Enfim, não consigo ver todos porque os quadradinhos continuam a aumentar e os convidados a chegar. Faço votos que, em nome, neste caso, da organização, que usufruam desta experiência e que seja relevante para todos. Como o nosso querido instrutor distrital, o companheiro Manuel Cepeda, falou, para quem quiser, a partir de agora, a interpretação poderá escolher no botãozinho em baixo de interpretação o canal português. Para quem quiser acompanhar em inglês, não precisa de fazer nada e, portanto, irá seguir, irá fluir nesse sentido. Basta que deixe ficar, portanto, como está, que é o som original, digamos, que chega até vós. Bom, eu a partir de agora, se me permitem, vou passar para o inglês, também para saudar os nossos convidados e irei continuar neste modo até ao final, para poder interagir com eles. So, good evening, my dear guests. Welcome to Portugal, to District 1970. We have here Rosetti Nabbumba. I'm looking at her here in my right upper corner. How are you, Rosetti? Welcome. Our District Governor from Uganda. Good evening. I'm looking at Nicki Scott from Great Britain and Ireland. How are you, Nicki? Welcome. Anke Schewe from Germany. Good evening, Anke.
Good evening.
Good evening. This looks like, how can I say, international contest, you know, presenting the countries and the speakers and everything. This is really welcome from Germany. And my dear friend, John Giorgio from Malta. How are you, John? Welcome. E naturalmente também a professora, welcome, professora Ana. Já tive a oportunidade de saudar há bocadinho. So, my dear friends, as we have been talking from these last days about these Rotary talks, the idea is that each one of you can, in more or less 10 minutes, to share your vision, your ideas about this important theme, vision and strategy, building the future in times of uncertainty. It's true that we are living a real strange times in this coronavirus. I don't know how to spell it, how to tell more about this. Every call I make, the first words are always to wish everybody is healthy, or your family is also fine. So this is what I also wish for you and your families, that everything is okay with you. But these are, as we say in Rotary, and Rotary is a strong professional community, and we are 1.2 million professionals united around the world for a cause, and we have a lot of causes, and one of that causes is, of course, to join efforts to develop this professional network, and also to develop this professional themes when we join our efforts to develop in this special opportunity the vision and strategy. How can be important to have vision and strategy? How can we define this in our companies? Why should we care about vision and strategy? You are the specialists in your own organizations. You have professional experience in different kinds of organizations, public organizations, entrepreneurs. We have a little bit of some of different experiences in all of you. So I will start with Anke, our first speaker of this evening. And just to say to you that Anke is a wonderful lawyer and mediator. She's also the governor from Rotary in a district in Germany. And she acts as a lawyer in cooperative practice. Also, I wish, and I just give you this, send you this challenge to you, Anke, that you can talk us a little bit in your speech about your projects with the women in Pakistan.
Oh.
Yes, just.
I'd love to. Thank you. That's great.
I think it'll be great because Anke she's a top professional, top lawyer, but she also finds some time in her life to help the women in Pakistan. So, Anke, I give you full speech, more or less 10 minutes. Talk us about what your vision about this issue, and also a little bit about your project in Pakistan. And how can this can be mixed all in one person, one professional, one life is your life. How can you do so many things, Anke? Tell us about.
Thank you so much. What is it that makes the whole person? Man is a being that unites three very special abilities. Man thinks, man feels, man has a strong will. Do we use our potential on all these three levels? I think we don't. First of all, we stand in our way. Let us first consider our thinking. We have the ability to think, but this takes energy. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the incandescent lamp, went so far as to say in the last century, every means is right for people to avoid thinking. The fast pace of our time did not exactly increase the willingness to think. We get headlines and opinions from the media instead of information. Textbooks are limited to reproducing a shortened mainstream and are exposed to deep fakes that we do not recognize as such because we accept what we encounter several times as true. My 13-year-old son already knows this. He gives me the example of a deepfake, the well-known YouTuber and self-confessed vegan Anke, who in a video supposedly showing him religious eating salami. He also called me a portrayal of Napoleon in some school books as a little man. When dealing with other people, this regularly means that we are busy with what the German action researcher Otto Scharmer calls downloading. We reproduce existing rules and opinions and perceive we have always what we see, always seen and knew. At this point, our own self is still in the comfort zone. There is no willingness to reflect on yourself. Other views are not properly appreciated at this level on a regular basis. Discussions are not about illuminating a question comprehensively, but rather about imposing ideas and opinions. We put a stamp on the other person without really meeting him. Corona, I think, has changed something on this point. In many online meetings, I can notice a change in my environment. The quality of listening has improved. I think that we pay more attention to deviations from our own ideas online. We no longer ignore or deny them, but start to be open to them and to communicate truthfully about differences. We are pushing the limits. We look outside the box and start to appreciate differences. This activates our own thinking again. The open mind only creates the condition for us to turn to the level in which today's society is most in trouble. It is the level of feeling that we can calmly call the heart level. I don't have to be a therapist to find that many people are afraid of opening their hearts. They don't even allow themselves to look at themselves properly. Simply speaking, the word heart feeling or love means an unsurmountable hurdle for many people. The questions that arise on this level come up every day in my professional work as a mediator. I use a special procedure to guide conflict parties to settle their conflict independently and without calling a court. As an experienced lawyer, I know very well what consequences judicial decisions can have for a person. A person can only live with a decision about the own life if he also agrees with it in thinking, feeling, and wanting. In my work, it is always surprising to me what is possible if a real change of perspective has been achieved. To do this, the participants must first be enabled to determine the real reason for their will. What is the human need behind it? What is the real interest? Anyone listening here shifts their attention away from yourself and towards to the other. The antennas are extended. The concern is to see the world through the eyes of the other. Whoever observes himself feels how they perceives what others are doing and what he feels. In the answer, he learns something new about himself. The empathic listener crosses his limit and may gain something that changes him. The Indians would say, please walk 10,000 miles in the other's moccasins before judging him. And the founder of nonviolent communication, Marshall B. Rosenberg, said 60 years ago, when we hear each other's needs and feelings, we recognize the humanity that we have in common. I have found that we cannot change people. However, each and every one of us is able to initiate change processes. We just have to be ready to get involved in the process and change ourselves. I claim that people long to be seen as people. Let's take it seriously in our environment. Let's just take a closer look. We have to look, we have to love, we have to look at the person and we have to love the person we are listening to. That means we try to develop the ability to see the best possible potential in the other person. We need each and every single person for that. Our task is to develop an idea of how we want to live in the future in the different areas of life in our environment. We have the opportunity to put our being in a broader context and to formulate a common concern. A change process, understood in this way, is a common way of exploring and creative activity and a real opportunity for a profound change towards becoming human. Let us be pioneers and a significant part of this change. In this space, we also live as Rotarians. Thank you.
Dear Anke, thank you so much. We have more 2 minutes, and I just want to ask a quick question. When do you will return to Pakistan?
Hopefully I will. With my heart, I'm there every day, I can tell you. Perhaps I'm allowed to explain the audience what happened to me. Because,
in 1 minute, could you
yes,
do
1
it?
minute.
1 minute.
I met a Pakistani lawyer at the Rotary convention in Hamburg, and she she explained me the situation for the women in Pakistan. It's not easy to go to court, and but there is a thing which is called dispute resolution councils, and we want to train now women for this dispute resolution council, to empower them and to give them the opportunity to become part of this court. That's what we want to do. We want to train them, to get trainers, and we have a friend of mine. We were in Pakistan and found out that we can make it real. That everybody is, especially the Rotarians, but also the police stations on which the dispute resolutions councils are installed, that they are all welcoming that. And it's a wonderful development, I think. Thank you, Sérgio.
Thank you to you, Anke. You are a wonderful human being. And I think you are also giving us the example about vision and strategy. You know, there is some words from Nelson Mandela, and he take from the Zulu and South Africa, that there are, the term is Ubuntu, and it says, I am because we are. So that's what you are doing. You are taking Germany to Pakistan, and you are taking Pakistan to our hearts. So thank you so much.
Thank you. You know what? This reminds me on Mahatma Gandhi.
Mahatma Gandhi?
What you said, yeah? Be the first step. You must show us how if you want to change the world, you must start with...
Be the change you want to see in the world.
Thank
you must give the example. That's what you are doing. That's why we can inspire others with your example. Thank you, Anke.
Thank you.
Talking about being inspiring, take us directly to Africa, to Uganda. And it's a great honor to have here Rosetti Nabbumba. She's a public figure in Uganda. She's president of the African Evaluation Association. Rosetti is also district governor from Rotary. She's the deputy head of the budget monitoring and accountability unit at the Ministry of Finance. I think this is very important, Rosetti, the things you do in life. But she has one thing that is not in her short bio, but I can tell you with all the certainty that she's a wonderful person too. When I was in San Diego in our training, she was the first person from Rotary I met in the airport. And we shared a taxi, and we feel this good energy between us. And then we keep in touch. And when we had this idea about these Rotary talks, I immediately think in Rosetti, because she's a leader, she's a fighter, and she will talk to you right now. So dear Rosetti, welcome to Portugal, District 1970 from Rotary, and be my guest, please.
Thank you very much, Sergio. What a pleasure to connect, just like we connected in the airport. And I got this ride, and things are happening, and we are having joint programs, thanks to Rotary, which builds connections. So first of all, I would like to extend our sympathies to all the global communities that have been badly affected by the COVID-19, because it has actually affected the fabric of society, and we have to go back to the reading table. I feel that the textbook theories which have been written for hundreds of years, some of them are not going to work going forward, and we need new research. And that's where I come in as a president of at least 33 associations of monitoring and evaluation in Africa, in 33 countries, I would like to say it is time to go back and strengthen our monitoring and evaluation systems to make sure that we understand the problem. I don't think we know this problem now, because when we set out, we started with saying we are going to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Now I don't know where we are. I don't think we even understand what has happened to this whole theory of trying to get to 2030 to certain outcomes. So thank you very much for inviting me. And I would like to start by saying the economic and social impact of the pandemic and the lockdown measures that have followed have brought a whole lot of uncertainties in all our countries. And even Dr. Anke is saying, let's love each other. I don't know even how you love somebody when you don't have food. The whole notion of love, care systems is being disrupted because everybody is now at their own, trying to say, how do I live in such an uncertain world? Now, even you can't move easily to your neighbor, and that already puts a stop to all the love we want to show. Love through the telephone, through the email, will cease to be ruffled or something so serious. So we need to rethink. Here in Africa, the fragile health systems have been overburdened by increased case management, dysfunctional interruptions on the transport system. So you'll find that a poor woman is unable to get to the health system in time. And therefore we are getting losses of babies just because somebody is unable to find the vehicle which will take them to the healthcare system in time. In the Ministry of Finance, where I work, we are so concerned about outcomes and how they relate to the budget. But look, now we have to have gone back to look at the entire budget and say, how can you start thinking of tourism when there's no plane? There's no one who is going to come. We have been saying we want to create tourist attraction such that we can earn an income. But now there's no tourist, not even one. We actually chase you because we fear you will come with COVID-19. So that sector is affected. Long-term planning is totally disrupted. So I would say that as we move forward and look for solutions, we must also look at the governance systems. In the African Evaluation Association board, which I chair, and with headquarters in Ghana, I see that systems are disintegrating. Finding your colleague so that you discuss in time. Your colleague is saying it's lockdown time, I'm going somewhere, I can't speak to you. So the whole notion of governance has to be rethought afresh. But luckily, I would say that despite all these uncertainties, we have new opportunities. We have new opportunities in technologies, new financing will emerge. I believe the thoughts of policymakers are completely going to change from what we have been working on and look at other things. And I can see the role of non-government organizations like Rotary are going to become very, very important. Where government can't be, let's be there. And for example, I come from District 9211. It's composed of Uganda and Tanzania. I welcome the friends who have come there on the platform from that district to witness this. We have had to raise, with support of Rotary International, $328,000 in response to the COVID situation. But then that is not enough. It's not long lasting. You give some wash items, within a month they will be gone. So how many grants are you going to write before things run out? It means we need connections. Sérgio, we need networks that work across countries, very big connections, and we write very huge grants that can have a large impact over a large area. So, my dear friends, as we move forward, in my country, as a governor, I recognize that, of course, we can't solve all the problems at the same time. One program I've asked my colleagues to consider is fitness and nutrition program. Here we are saying that if I can't feed you, but let me keep you healthy, let's try to see how to reduce the cost of healthcare and make a saving within the family. So we are encouraging all Rotarians, Rotaractors, Interactors, family members to embrace fitness and nutrition as a culture, because that's where all our diseases come from. We want to make sure we stop the diseases, because while we are so worried about COVID, at the same time, other diseases are on rampage. I can see we have non-communicable diseases like diabetes, heart diseases. They're killing people more than the COVID itself in Africa. So you cannot just talk about COVID and forget the holistic picture of dealing with malaria, which is killing triple the number who have died. In Uganda, we have only had 2 deaths so far. But in malaria, we are in 10,000s. So why would one concentrate on COVID and forget the malaria, which is killing everybody else? So we have to rethink and also take away too much focus on something which is not exactly killing everybody as much as the other aspects. So the other program, as I conclude, which we are trying to work on, is the Rotary Roses Fellowship. Being the first female from Uganda to be a district governor, where Rotary has been in Uganda for 60 years, and being the last female district governor, because our district is redistricting at the end of my tenure, I cannot live without trying to build the capacity of women to take up leadership positions in the local economy and in the global economy. So we have a Rotary Roses Fellowship. Sérgio will be coming to ask you to join us, such that we work on a program that helps girls, boys, and men can accompany us as we go forward. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I'm always available to make more interventions. Thank you very much.
Thank you to you, Rosetti. To be fair, I will give you 1 minute just as Anke, and just one small question about the future you see in your young people, in the young generation in your country, Rosetti.
The future, the young people, incidentally, Uganda and Tanzania, these are the countries with the youngest population in the world. Almost 70% of our population is teenagers or below 30 years. And therefore, a person like me and you, we are the extinct characters in my country. So this generation, we have come around and saying they must actually be in everything we do, because the decisions that we're making can only be impactful if we have them on board, because they are the majority. So the move is so strong. The young ones are making a lot of noise to get the older ones off their plate, to make sure their ideas are coming. And in Rotary, we are promoting that everywhere. For instance, everywhere I go for my visits, I say there must be a Rotaractor on the board of Rotary Club. Let them bring their voice. Don't talk for them. Make them actually part of the board. Thank you very much.
Thanks to you, Rosetti, and for your strength, your focus, and also to keep inspiring your citizens to keep forward. And I know you are a very inspiring leader because I had the opportunity to see you in action, and you are also a woman of action, no? And so it's a great example you are giving to all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So now I'm going to take I'm going to by sea, and I will land nearby Malta and to find my dear friend John Giorgio. Good evening, John.
Good evening, Sérgio.
It's wonderful to have you here. When I first called John, he was in the sea and he was traveling in his boat. And he was telling me, I don't know if I will be on land, by sea. No, you are in land right now, John.
I am on land. Yes.
On land, okay.
I am in Malta.
You are in Malta, so thank you so much to be with us. John is an inspiring leader, entrepreneur. He's the chairman of Shireburn Software, Malta's leading software company. And I was checking, and I was really interested also about your corporate social responsibility. You have programs with Friends of Inspire, Blood Drivers, ICT students, and other programs in your company. And also to tell you that John is a past district governor from Malta, from Rotary, and he's he makes part of the team of Leadership Development Training Committee to 2020-24. And I met him in a wonderful institute in Catania, where we were a few months ago. So, John, I please ask you to share with us your ideas about the vision and strategy and how this can be important in these times of uncertainty.
Thank you. Thank you, first of all, for inviting me to join you today. Before starting, I would just like to say hello to my dear friend Sérgio Aragon, who I see on the Zoom call this evening. Hello, Sérgio, also to you. So just a brief background to me. So I am Maltese and live in Malta, and set up a software company by mistake in 1983. By mistake in the sense that it wasn't my intention at the time. And I'll come back to this point, why I'm mentioning that. And as a person, really, I have a number of passions. One is curiosity. I'm a very curious person. So I'm always trying to find out how things work, how things can be improved. And I'm passionate about sailing, traveling, and my food and wine, as well as, of course, Rotary. So those are really the things that drive me. At the same time, I run the software company, which is obviously an important part of my life. And I thought that today Sérgio had asked me to give a perspective more of someone who is an entrepreneur in respect of the coronavirus situation that we are all faced with. And clearly, this situation has brought about an unprecedented level of disruption, something that we have never seen realistically, at least in our lifetimes. And this is a disruption which is very much impacting our social lives. Social, I don't just mean in terms of fun and entertainment, but society. It's a societal change on a massive scale, and of course an economic change and a major disruption. And we hear a lot the phrase of the new normal, the extent to which we need to adapt to this new environment. I don't like the word or the phrase new normal because it implies continuity. And I think the level of disruption that we are faced with is really something which has brought about a completely new reality. This is not an incremental change. It's not an evolution, but it is a revolution of change. And in fact, one of the things that we have seen is that so many things have experienced an acceleration of trends and changes that we've been living with in these last few years, and we're expecting to modify how we live our business and personal lives over the next 5 to 10 years. But suddenly we found a massive amount of change and the need for adaptation, which has accelerated all of this change into a 3, 4, 5 month period. And much of this change has actually been accelerated as a result of technology. So this for me is very interesting because this is my sector. And technology has driven this change in terms of meetings such as this evening, our ability to meet. And the interesting thing is not just our ability to continue to meet, maybe in a different forum or in a different method, but the fact that this has enabled us to have more people meeting. So if we look this evening, we have people from, obviously from Portugal, but we have participants from Germany, from Uganda, from Denmark. I see my Andrea friend, we share the same surname, from Denmark, and of course the United Kingdom. And in the year when Mark Maloney was talking about Rotary and connecting lives, this really has been an incredible connection. I'm sure all of you have been participating in Zoom meetings with people from around the world, and it's been an incredible experience. So this is part of the adaptation that we are able to undertake, including the adaptation of how we will continue to work. So the move towards working from home, which has been slowly increasing year on year, suddenly took on obviously a massive increase during the lockdowns, but more importantly, it is likely to result in a continuation to some extent of that same working from home trend having been accelerated. My own company, we've changed our policies. We've actually stopped a project to expand our physical space because, which we are running out of, because it looks like we'll be able to have about 40% of people working from home on any given day. These are all changes which are very, very important to us. And so really, is there anything particularly different? People speak about business as usual. During the COVID period, we need to return to a process of business as usual. I'm not fully in agreement with business as usual. I think we have to return to business as it should always have been. So many of these trends, which are now being accelerated, are really trends that we should have been further along this route. And it's the empowerment of women, for instance, which will result as a consequence of the increased ability for working from home. It's these societal changes which we have the opportunity to take up, which it will be a great shame if we don't all utilize this and see it as an opportunity. If you think of a river, very often what you'll have in a river is parts of the river where the water does not have so much flow. And the water stagnates and very often becomes dirty, and life does not grow so strong. What's the thing that gives life to a river? It's the current, it's the flow of the water, it's the disruption. Disruption can be and should be a positive, because disruption brings about new opportunities. If we look at previous periods, even during periods like the plague, there was so much new invention, so much new change which went about as a result of that disruption. And it's very important for us as people, as Rotarians, to embrace that change. Uncertainty very often leads people to hold back from taking decisions. But in fact, we should be looking at these periods of uncertainty as giving us the opportunity for bringing about more change, for having new vision, for creating new strategies, and for more planning for success, whatever success may mean in different parts. So really, the importance of today's session is that it is about the importance of having a clear vision. And the clear vision is the first step, because the strategy is then about, or all about, how we actually bring about that vision. And the tactics are the individual steps that we need to take to support our strategy, where those tactics, those steps need to be clearly aligned with a vision, with a strategy towards a vision. And that alignment of each step is extremely important. And I have made use of this thinking, this way of thinking, very strongly within my own business career, in terms of us as a company, not just the products that we've developed, but even the idea of how we moved our business from what originally was a training business into a software development business, into a software products business, into now what is a software subscription business. And this is all following an evolving vision. And I can't say that when I started the business in 1983, I had a vision to do what I'm doing today. And that also is very important, because we mustn't let vision block us from change. We can't set a vision and not adapt that vision. It's very important. Keynes, the economist, had said, when I have new facts, I have new decisions. So it's very important to actually evolve that vision over time. And of course, in all of this, the idea of planning is so essential. But to me, there is one thing which is crucial in all of this. And this is a phrase that I like to use called opportunity identification. When 5 people look at a situation, those 5 people don't all see the same thing. Even if you're looking down towards a lake over the mountains, I might see one thing and Sergio might see something else. He might focus on the trees, I might focus on the water. We all have a different view, and we all have a different way of identifying opportunities. And the analogy I would like to use is actually the analogy of a surfer. If I were to say to you, close your eyes and imagine a scene with surfers, almost certainly the scene that you have just imagined is of a big wave with a curve to the wave, with someone on a board, probably looking very athletic, probably very good looking, and making great progress on this wave. I'd be surprised if that was not the vision that most of you had. But in actual fact, when you watch people surfing, most of the time, people are sitting on their surfboard with their back to the beach, looking out to sea, trying to find the wave. And not everyone sees the same wave. Some people miss the wave completely. Others catch a wave which turns out to be a very small wave, not a very powerful wave. And other people manage to catch the full wave, which takes them at great speed, probably into that vision that you all had before. And the difference, or that process, is about the opportunity identification. And if we think of opportunity identification in terms of what we all do as Rotarians, the examples are the sorts of examples that we've already heard from Anke in Pakistan, meeting the district governor-elect from Pakistan and identifying an opportunity to help. Or the example that we heard from Rosetti earlier and from Sérgio. Sérgio and Rosetti meeting, discussing, and seeing how they could work together. That is the opportunity identification, that we all have the opportunity, let me use that word, at a personal level, in our business lives, in our Rotarian lives. And really, the whole thing about vision is there as soon as you've identified the opportunity. And I want to close off with an example that I have used within my own business, where we had actually been doing a project for Malta International Airport to help them to manage their retail operations in the airport. Now, just by way of background, 48% of the world's airports normally lose money. Now, today, I'm sure it's 100% of airports that are losing money, but in good times, 48% of airports lose money. Of the ones that make money, they almost all only make money through the retail and the food and beverage business, not by flying passengers. Okay, there are very, very few airports that make money out of flying passengers. And what happened when we were doing this particular project for this airport in Malta, we went through that opportunity identification process, and we understood that what we could do was create a software product to help the airports with this particular sector. And as a result, we would create a product that would help the airports to manage the parts of their business which is profitable. And our strategy, clearly laid out before we even created our product, was that we would find a company that sells software to the operational side of the airport business, and we will create a software product, build up a client base and a reputation through our marketing, and then turn to those companies and say, you can buy this product to help you sell more to your airport customers. So here what's important was the vision and the strategy was set before we even created the product. Okay, because we identified the opportunity, set the vision and the strategy, and then everything we did was in alignment with that process. And really, in today's COVID world, we are in a situation where there is what is being referred to as the COVID curve. The first few weeks in some cases, or in some countries, I would say months, there was a process of denial. People didn't accept what was actually happening. Then there was the process of the realization, and then the change to a survival type mode. And now we're probably, hopefully, at the stage of the signs of life and rebooting our lives and our economies, rebuilding and recovering towards this new recovery, this new reality that we are faced with, all of which need to be clearly defined in our evolving strategy moving forward. That's some of the points that I wanted to share with you this evening. I understand there might be some questions later that we might be able to address. Back to you, Sergio.
That's it. Thank you, John. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Someone was thinking that you probably should start earlier your career with as a motivational speaker, okay? And I was listening to you, and I was thinking about a vision of Dale Carnegie when he says there are two prisoners on a cell. There are two sad prisoners on the cell. And the two prisoners, they decide to go to the window. And one of those prisoners look down to the mud and gets more sad. The other looks out of the window and looks up to the stars, and he gets more hope in getting out of this prison. So I was thinking about what you were saying, about the vision we have, about the same thing that can be really different for each and any one of us. And also that idea about seeing an opportunity, always look at the bright side of life. It's a wonderful music. Thank you, John. It was very, very inspiring. And I know that you really walk the talk and you do what you say. And I know that I have the opportunity to meet people that work with you and in Cecilia. And I think it's a very good example about being conscious, about being balanced in these values, core values, action, and at the same time to manage a business or a company. I will listen to John, and I was thinking to myself, if my dear four speakers and friends were having any conversation before of this talk, because you are very aligned in a lot of things, the majority of the things. And I think every speech is connecting. And talking about connection, I will leave you with our Nicki Scott. Nicki Scott, who is also, you will see, you will find for yourself. But Nicki has also this wonderful vision about the world and about things and about being together with causes. Nicki was, I think, 25 years living in the United States. Now she's back in England. And Nicki is Rotary International Director and leader of the Association of Great Britain and Ireland to 21-23. Also, she has a background in corporate finance, strategic planning, change management. I know she is doing a lot of things, and she's a wonderful human being that I will right now giving her the full opportunity to share with us her ideas. So Nicki, welcome. Please be my guest.
Thank you so much, Sergio, and good evening, everybody. This has been a fantastic conversation already, and it's my joy. It's, as Sergio said, it's interesting how many touch points we all have that are the same, even though we did not confer beforehand. But I have been a big believer in vision and strategy all my life, both personally and professionally. And Sergio gave you a little taste of my background then, and all the way through taking it to a personal level and helping to give back on the Rotary Strategic Planning Committee for 3 years, writing our new vision and our strategy along with the help of about 1 million Rotarians. So, but going back in time, it was really Stephen Covey's 7 Habits that really got me started. I think I was a big fan of the 7 Habits, and start with the end in mind. And that is a mantra I have applied throughout my life, both in business and personally. So that is the where, you know, you don't know how you're going to get there if you don't know where you're going, right? That's absolutely essential. And then, as John said, the goals, you know, making sure that once we know where we want to go, that we are figuring out how we're going to get there in those baby steps and some longer term planning. But as Rosetti very carefully pointed out, this longer term planning is not so easy anymore. So if you know where you're going and you know how to get there, that's in theory, that's good enough. But no, I don't think it is. I think I have learned in life that it's really more about asking the question why. And many of you will have come across Simon Sinek and his theory of start with why. If we do not ask why, then we are not aligned to a sense of purpose and a reason for being, because especially in business and for ourselves, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And Anke, you spoke very carefully or very well to the concept of what defines us as human beings is that we think and we feel. And really it is emotion, it's that emotion that makes us buy into a business or the leader. And we align if we feel like we have that sense of a shared why. So I think that is very important. And now more than ever, in these very challenging times, I think we should be asking why all the time. So I think we should do this. Well, why? Well, because we've done this before, yes, but why? So as John said, we're not really looking for a new normal. We need to question the value and the authenticity behind everything that we do. And I think Rotary has given me a real sense of teaching me how important it is to align our personal why to what we do in a workplace and how we align ourselves to those values. Rotary is a world with shared core values. And I think that helps us stay in a very positive, happy frame of mind. And in the workplace, that remains true as well. I don't know for any of you in any business setting, when you get that little angst in your stomach and it doesn't feel right, it's because typically there is a conflict of values. So I think businesses now are really understanding how important what was originally perceived as a soft side of leadership, it's really defining the culture, what it is that the business values, and the behaviors that evidence that really start to add to the glue of a successful business. And that today is more and more what actually will attract and retain employees. Similarly for Rotary, I know that there's even terms out there now in the modern world of chief heart officer, back to the thinking and feeling. I think, you know, we're just one person at the end of the day. So we need to live in alignment personally with how we work and how we show up in the world professionally. I was always very driven I just always have been very driven, and I don't know quite where that drive comes from, but just very eager to give back in the world, but I was always driven to success. And I find that interesting term. I think I grew up believing, having had a very corporate father, that success was related to the number of zeros in my paycheck. And but really, here I am now in a leadership role in Rotary with a big fat 0. And I feel like I'm being more valued and more aligned to purpose than ever before. So I think it's a time for us in this time of reflection to think about shifting, redefining what success means. Let's go from success to significance, maybe. And I think this can be something that not only when we live out personally, we find it drives a lot more happiness when we shift to significance thinking, but also for businesses. And if you stop and reflect how much businesses have evolved in the last few decades, and certainly our terminology in the business world, businesses are seeking to be more purpose-driven. You know, there's always been a need for whatever products that people are selling, and otherwise they wouldn't be in business in the first place. But I think businesses are looking to go further than that now for significance themselves. We obviously had the movement of corporate social responsibility, which was more of an imposition, if you like, on businesses to give back and to look at ways they could contribute to the world. And then I think that became more internalized, and those companies that stood head and shoulders above the rest were taking more initiatives and not just looking at ways to protect the environment with the waste, but also to look for ways to engage their employees in volunteering opportunities. And that was a wonderful thing. And then we've moved more towards social enterprise, where we have entrepreneurs specifically creating a business for social impact and for making our world a better place, which is a wonderful initiative that I think we could be doing a lot more within Rotary. And then that evolves too into even larger corporate environments to this new term of conscious capitalism. And whereas that sounds like a bit of an oxymoron, capitalism doesn't have to be profit for pockets. It can be profit for a better world. And that is all about elevating humanity through business. So it's having a business with a purpose. It's having business with conscious leaders, conscious about how they impact others and very self-aware. They have a conscious culture and making sure they look out for each other and the employees, but also they are working very well and consciously with their whole stream of stakeholders, not just their customers, but their employees and indeed their vendors, to make sure that everybody is getting that win-win, back to Covey. So a win-win attitude. So I think all the way through this journey in life, I have found it very interesting to be right in the middle of it and yet take time to stand back and observe it. And to your point, John, and having a few key things, passions of yours, I'm a very curious person. And I love to figure out what makes people tick and what makes businesses tick, and indeed what makes organizations tick. And I think if many of us, no matter what we do, can come at life with more of a servant leadership mindset, where we're looking to serve those who we work with and make sure that they are getting the work done and whatever it is, the purpose that we exist to do, I think that's very important. And I think even that term is becoming dated. I think the terms now, there's a couple of new terms out there of authentic leadership. You know, I think authentic leadership in some ways defines itself, where you're very much in a sort of transparent mode, very ethical. In a lot of the executive coaching work I did, I found that some of the most successful leaders are those that are willing to be vulnerable. Vulnerability would have originally been seen as a weakness, but I don't think that is the case at all anymore, because people just don't have to prove. Be more authentic, be yourselves. And I think coming full circle back to the situation we find ourselves in now, adaptive leadership is probably the most important new term and a framework that we need to be looking at, because it helps individuals and organizations adapt and thrive in challenging environments. You know, when you think of the situation we're in now, where students who are in college, you know, who are studying engineering, whatever they're learning in the first year is already redundant by the third year. So we don't need to teach the facts, we need to teach the abilities to adapt and the abilities to thrive and the abilities to think and be curious and be disruptive innovators so that we can adapt to any situation. So I'd love to think that everyone here tonight is at a point where they are willing to embrace this change and to consider moving from whatever it was that we originally thought of as success. And success is not a bad thing, that's a great thing. but let's all collaboratively aim towards something that's more significant in no matter what line of work we choose to move, and in our volunteer work. So coming then back to Rotary, I don't think any of presidents could have come up with two more prophetic themes. Rotary connects the world, as we've already pointed out, how many countries are here tonight, and then Rotary opens opportunities. That was incredibly prophetic. Look at the logo behind everyone's, behind Rosetti's and John's pictures here, with the doors are open. Finally, we are not meeting behind closed doors. We can now talk to the rest of the world and let everyone else see how fantastic Rotary is as an organization. We're not some mysterious thing where we go around with secret practices. We're out to make the world a better place. Together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities and in ourselves. And I think that in ourselves is the piece I'm talking to tonight. I remember fighting hard for that element. We don't talk enough about what a gift Rotary is to our personal lives. I've gained so much for me and my family. So to come to the COVID-19 situation, this is an enormous catalyst for accelerated change that we've needed in Rotary for a long time. And some of these things we're doing now, we should have been doing years ago, but it took this disruption to get us here. So we need to ride this wave. It's funny you use surfing, John, because I've talked about that so much. That's that same analogy. I think Rotary seriously has an opportunity to play an important role in helping reboot our economies. So we can use this term that United Nations have coined to build back better. Although I must admit, I hesitate on the word back there. So maybe it should be build forward better, because we are truly better together. So I think that's it. And I just think the more we can live life with an authentic stance in everything we do, the better. And there's a leadership theorist in England called Lance Secretan, and has said, authenticity is the alignment of head, mouth, heart, and feet, thinking, saying, feeling, and doing the same thing, consistency. This builds trust, and followers love leaders they can trust. So whoever you are, please be a leader and shine by example and help us all move to make the most of this accelerated chance for change and a better world. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicki. Thank you to accelerate our hearts. You really put us in a dopamine way. So our brains are now, I think, with a lot of synapses and engaging hearts and minds and souls. Just to check, I was looking at the presence here. I think we are now 11 countries: Portugal, Spain, Turkey, Brazil, Uganda, England, Germany, Malta, Italy, Angola, Denmark. A special word to Angola. I'm also honorary member of Luanda. He is Manuel Assis. I'm looking at him, my dear friend from Angola. And so we are 11 countries here and more, I think, on Facebook. And this is because I think we really are in this mode of, we are conscious that we can make the difference. That if we stand together to a cause, if we put our values out, if we show the best of us, we really can make people's lives better. But as you said, Nicki, I think we can do it better out there if we get stronger inside of us. I can help better others if I help myself first, if I know myself better. So thank you so much to helping us to know us a little bit better. I think we could stay here all night listening to you and all of our speakers, since Rosetti, Anke, and John. So now I please ask Anna Lourenço that can take forward this Rotary Talks with some questions to you. Thank you so much.
Okay, good evening. Thank you, Sérgio, and thank you to all participants. I'm going to switch to Portuguese just for a little bit. Boa noite a todos. Muito obrigada por estarem desse lado. Muito obrigada ao Rotary International por esta parceria com a Católica do Porto. E é um gosto para mim estar aqui e ouvir todos estes participantes. So I'm back to English now. I was just thanking all participants for being there, and it is a great pleasure for me to be with you all tonight. Actually, I must be true to you all, and I had prepared a few questions, but as it often happens, it is the participants that actually disrupted. I mean, I heard disruption in almost all of the interventions, disrupted my initial questions, because I am now quite curious. I sensed during the four interventions, I sensed a huge energy, flowing in all interventions. And it was, in a sense, I was taking notes about interventions and I was just signaling how often I heard about change, about realizing full potential, about recognizing opportunities, about being curious, about being empathic, learning something new. And all this requires us to be, in a sense, be a person of energy and allowing oneself to be able to change oneself and also change our world. And I must ask questions, but I think I have an easy question. During Nicki's presentation, I was just pointing out the importance of the why. Okay, understanding why we do things. And I would like to ask you, if you had to start each day with a question to guide your day, what would be a change-inducing question for each of you?
I'd love to go first. I jump in. I think I'll just go with the first thing that came into my head. I think it would be, what's the most important thing that I can do today? I think it's literally just because I think sometimes we have such long lists and life gets crazy, but I think it's very important to have a sense of direction and just what is the most important. And then if none of the others get done, then that's okay, because you got the most important thing done.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent question to guide one's day. So any of the other participants would like to take the floor and also advance a question? Yes, Anke?
Perhaps I think I always ask, I ask this every day, what am I thankful for? What really, that's it. If you believe it or not, this is a question I ask myself every day. And I am thankful for everything, even for very hard things sometimes. Sometimes it takes some time to realize what the disruption has done to me, and what opportunities came out of a situation which made me suffer for a few while. Yes, but yes, to be thankful. That's the thing. I think we should ask ourselves more than parents teach their children at this time.
Yes.
If I could add my my piece on it, when you asked the question, the first thing that went to my mind was more something related to my business life rather than my personal life. That was my immediate first thought. And really in our line, we are very much of a supporting infrastructure for thousands of businesses. And if we don't perform well, we actually can lead to losses, and I don't mean just financial losses, but disruption amongst those businesses that use us as their supplier. So it's always really one of the things that we're always looking to do is how can we do things better to make it better for our clients, but also for the team in the office, for the simple reason that that is a knock-on effect. So in other words, I'm a firm believer that if you get your relations with your staff right, then automatically they're going to interact with your clients right. So the idea of the client is always right. It's really actually as a consequence through the employee being right that comes about, I think.
Okay, can I also add something? Not very different from the others. I'm always thinking about how many days on earth do I have, and how fast can I work to improve somebody's life? So I'm always looking out and saying, who needs me? Who needs something from me? And is it within my potential? So every day I wake up, I'm looking at what value can I bring to somebody, even if it is one person. Thank you.
Now, this is really interesting to have this grasping to what is our priority, what am I thankful for, how can I do things better, and who needs me? That's a really interesting question. Who needs me and who can I help? And if you had to, if you had to, in a sense, find what is a specific value and a specific skill that can allow us to ask these good questions and be prepared for a world of change, because as Rosetti was saying, long-term planning is totally disrupted. And possibly we will need to not have the new normal, as John was also saying, but another world, and possibly normal isn't even a good word here. What would you say is a value and a skill that are important for these highly uncertain times of change, of disruption, of need to realize our full potential and to rehumanize, because Anke was telling us about humanization and to rehumanize ourselves?
Can I answer that one?
Yes, of course.
A very simple answer: humility. I think humility, and Nicki was referring to that, talking about being humble, being vulnerable, being authentic. They're all really around the same thing. And the real importance of the humility is the fact that we are going to have to adapt. We are going to have to say that things that we were doing 3 months ago weren't right, that we have to change, we have to modify what previously we were considering to be correct. And it's quite difficult for people to do that and admit that they were, let me use the word, wrong, without that sense of humility. And I think leadership without humility is not real leadership.
Okay, can I add something?
Yes, of course.
Yes, what comes to my mind is two things. One is intuition and tolerance. The reason why I talk about intuition is time has come when well-researched work at the moment does not work very well. And it means I must have a high sense of intuition of what might be required in a complex situation and use that to move forward rapidly. Otherwise, there's nothing else left to use. And then tolerance is that this is, in a world of uncertainty, everybody is angry. Everybody is angry and hungry. And everybody is making everybody angry. So for you to move to the next step, you must be highly tolerant of the circumstances and just overlook what makes you angry and just keep going. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I would add something, I think, John, you said humanity.
Humility.
Pardon?
Humility.
Humble.
Being humble.
Yes, I think you must be authentic and you must have courage. You must know what you think and you feel and what you want to do. And in our days there are so many people who don't want you to do the things you do. They want to stop you changing processes. They are afraid to lose things. They are afraid to. They don't want to learn things about themselves. They don't want to look at themselves and to. I fight for that and try to give them the ability. I try to work with them, and I always have to ask myself about what is my point of view, what do I feel really, and sometimes, you know, when you don't like things. I don't like things which I see, and then I ask myself, what does this say about yourself, Anke? Look at yourself. What is wrong with you in this? Yes, yes. I must be honest. That's it. And this is. You know, I got one friend. It's very hard with him. He's always arguing with me, and really hard. And sometimes I was it was hard for me, really. And I tried to love him. I tried to love him and ask me, what's wrong with you? And that I learned from that. This is the experience. I'm thankful for all the views on myself which I get because of him.
Yes, Nicki. I think you should unmute. Yeah.
She can't unmute.
Okay, now I can. Okay, thank you. Yes, there is one of the most fun elements of my own leadership development training was when I joined Vistage International to be an executive coach. And we were introduced to a concept of fixed mindset versus growth mindset. And it's an American psychologist, Carol Dweck, D-W-E-C-K. And it really was very powerful in how much it helps you adapt to the world, is whether you are somebody of fixed values or whether you are open to change and open to have your opinions changed by other people. It goes back to that real empathic listening. And I think one of the strongest traits any leader needs is self-awareness. And so if you can have a really good sense of who you are, how you are in the world, how you impact others, what lenses you're wearing to filter out what you see, I think that is a really key skill to be able to genuinely put yourself in someone else's shoes without doing it without judgment, doing it without any prejudiced perspective. And it helps us understand what triggers us too, Anke, when we have that self-awareness, because there's always something. So it is a teaching point for ourselves. It's absolutely true.
So thank you all very much for your contributions. It was really enriching for us all. I would now ask Sérgio if there is anything that he would like to add to the discussion and to the talk. And
thank you, Anna. Thank you so much for your questions. And I was listening to Anna, and I was thinking that we really couldn't have better moderator and better human being to be with us. So yeah, it was like we know each other a few days ago, and these are the things also we are trying here to explain, that we can control a lot of things in our lives, but we also must believe and have hope and do the things in the positive way, and perhaps the opportunities are opening for all of us. So thank you, Anna. Thank you all. Just to finish, I would like just to give some ideas that I was listening to all of my dear guests and friends, and we really are connected, as Nicki said. That was a powerful statement, that the Rotary connects the world, and we are really connected now. Because of the coronavirus, I think the best of us is coming up, I think, and I'm sure that we really must embrace change and understand that we have one life in a physical mode, or this physical mode, but we have to live it well. And if we can let this world better for our grandchildren and to our children, then we are doing a great job. So from Anke, I get all of these emotions of authenticity. She almost cried here. She was, today we spoke in the phone, and she was so excited. Oh, I'm going to Portugal. So we are waiting for you, Anke, here in Portugal. And it was wonderful. We met in Sicilia, and the guilty, John was the guilty guy of it. So, and we were talking about these issues, like how this relay is connected, and this can effectively be connected independently if you are Portuguese or from Germany or from Uganda or from other countries. So the emotions you gave to us, your authenticity, I think with you, we will really have a better world. And the people who have the lucky to be next to you, I think they will be also with a better world. Okay, no, I'm not talking about our husbands and wives, okay? So not about this kind of leadership. I really admire your work, Anke, and what you are doing for the women in Pakistan, and your strength. I hope, and I'm sure that your energy will be very useful, not only on Germany, but also in the world. So thank you so much. And Rosetti, you are connecting people too. You connect two countries, Tanzania and Uganda. And it was amazing when we met in airport. We started to talk with each other, and we didn't know where we're going. So now here we are, and I think you really are this example with your project of fitness and nutrition. I saw your images. I get tired just to look at them, always doing things and putting people in movement. And you talk about intuition, and this is not only intuition. I think I'm totally sure that your energy will change the young people and all the people you touch with your heart, your enormous, great, fantastic heart, and with also your passion. And you are doing a great job, very professional, very structured. And thank you so much also to be with us. And to John, a great leader. I was listening to you and I was thinking, okay, so probably I will invite you also more times to give some of these examples. And I know that you want to spread your vision to the world and to take further from Malta. I can say John Di Giorgio, and the claim will be from Malta to the world. Can we tell it? John Di Giorgio, from Malta to the world. And I think you are giving a good example that I was thinking about José Saramago, Nobel Prize, Portuguese. And John, he says, if you want to see the island, you must get out of the island. And I was connecting to all of you, and if you want to know ourselves, we must get out of ourselves. And the best way to get out of ourselves is to be with other people and understand in the others exactly who we are. So I think you are, and I'm sure that humility is also a characteristic, a value or a way of living. You are giving to all of us this example. And also the way you started, because I invited you to talk about entrepreneurship, but you really talked first about you as human being. And this is what defines us. We are human beings, and thank you so much to be with us. As Nicki Scott says, we are one person at the end of the day. Just one. We can't split ourselves. We cannot be a tough manager and then a sweet friend. So we really must understand how this can mix. And the word, Nicki, you know, I love this neuroscience and researching and all of the behavior. And the why question, I think it's the question all of us, we take from here and from now, to understand that the purpose is much more, it's important to have skills, but skills without values, without purpose are nothing. So the way you connected everything was wonderful. And probably also to redefine success and give significance, I think it was the word. So Nicki Scott, you give us a purpose with your talk also. And you help us to understand that we can change our lives and we can change country, change everything, but we can stick to our purpose and to our core values and be happier. And this is also a way to succeed. So thank you so much to the four of you. And now em português, eu também quero agradecer a todos aqueles que estiveram connosco e no fundo são vocês que são os grandes convidados, são vocês que merecem tudo isto e muito mais, rotários, não rotários, porque no fundo é isto que no Rotary, enfim, é a nossa grande visão, que é estarmos juntos a favor de uma causa e sobretudo estarmos unidos numa altura em que o mundo muito necessita que venha ao de cima o melhor de nós. Estivemos aqui o melhor de nós foram todos vocês que estiveram aqui connosco. Muito obrigado. Obrigado aos nossos convidados. Thank you so much. See you one of these days. Vemo-nos em breve in another Rotary Talks. Bye.